All right, welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It is your host, Rob, aka B-Ball Archives, and I am with my homie AJ once again, joining us via Zoom. Let's do
What's
it.
going on, everybody? Oh my goodness. Rob, do we have something to talk about today? I was texting you during the game last night, Spurs versus Bucks. We have to get into it. You were there. I was watching it. It was absolutely insane. It was the craziest game I've witnessed in a very long time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was really really insane the energy that was in the Frost Center. I gotta say that anytime that Wemby had a big move or a big block or even I gotta say it, even Giannis's big dunks, man, those were just
Yeah,
really electric moments, and it was nice to feel us in that kind of competitive game with one of the best teams in the
right.
NBA. Yeah, it was nice to feel
Yeah,
that way.
absolutely. Well, it was great that we were on national TV. Wimby got to show off on his birthday. He dropped 27 points and 9 rebounds, only had one assist, but my God, those 27 points, each one was absolutely electric, absolutely incredible. 3 pointers, dunks, fast breaks. The he was doing everything. Like the highlights that he has are going to be the highlights we watch for a very long time. But we can't forget he had 5 blocks.
Yes.
One of them being in the final 25 seconds of the game against Giannis, which is mind-boggling that he met him at the rim and won that battle. Like it's I don't
That
know.
is such a big time block. That is a
It's
who's your
such
daddy block.
I don't
That
think
is a
people understand.
yes, and it's so crazy because that was one of the biggest questions about Wembanyama was like, oh, we know he's going to get a bunch of blocks, but what about whenever he plays Embiid, Jokic, or Giannis? What is he going to do then? Well, late in the game in the fourth quarter, his defense it even stepped up a big time notch.
Oh,
And
oh
he
yeah.
met
Oh
Giannis at
yeah.
the rim and denied him totally. And Giannis
Oh,
was
it
surprised. You
oh,
could tell in
Giannis
the
was
post
very
game interview.
surprised. Well, I mean, you watch the game. I mean, obviously Giannis had what like 44 points or 43 points, something like that. Yeah,
44 and
44
14.
points. 44, 14, and 7. And he was playing bully ball. He was playing bully ball. It was like, I got the ball at the top of the key or at the 3 point line, and I'm just going to drive to the basket. And we're playing like a kind of a soft zone. So we were trying to contain him, but like once he got downhill, it was over. And that's exactly what he did the entire game. And then when he wanted to go back to his bag of tricks, he got met at the rim. And the fact that Wimby had the strength to block the shot, I think, is a huge testament to the tacos in San Antonio.
Dude.
That's where he gets his strength from, and that's where he definitely shined. It was fantastic. I was
Okay,
floored
so
whenever I saw that play.
so if each one of those blocks was a taco, what would each one of them be? I think that last one was clearly a barbacoa. That's like the game. That's
Oh,
like the
a hundred
last
percent.
taco. That's like the last
Oh,
taco you
it
have.
was it was the best barbacoa taco you ever had with like the little green salsa or maybe red, whatever your choice is. Oh my god, dude! I was the
Squirt
entire
of fresh
game. The
lime on
entire
there.
game. It was some little onions and shit. Yeah.
Yes, come
The
on.
entire game, you're watching it and you're like, man, the Spurs are kind of like in this game. And then, we hit a big three, we tie it up, we go up by 4, we go up by 5. The place was electric from watching it on TV. And how can we forget our buddy Sean hitting that half court shot for 10 grand? Shout out to
Dude,
that guy.
when we're talking about electric moments at the Frost Center, dude, that place erupted when he hit that shot to win $10,000. Like even the Spurs guys just got pumped. And one of the funniest things was when he was walking off the court, he was like, "Dude, this is my moment." And he walked right up to Giannis and just stuck out his hand and just they both shook each other's hands like and he was like yes and he was like I did it. He's like because honestly, like when you're in that kind of moment, like, dude, do
Oh,
your
yeah.
thing. Like, honestly, he could have like stood on the scorer's table and started pumping his fist. We would have started doing
The
it with
Pat Bev
we.
take off his shirt.
Oh, dude, we were loving that dude in that moment. I swear.
Also, that dude had a stroke, man. That dude, he definitely shot a basketball before. sometimes you go to those games and you watch them, you're like, you've never picked up a basketball in your entire life. This dude, you're like, oh, you know what you're doing. And then he made that half court and you're going, whoa, all right, let's go. And
Dude.
I think that, I think that whole thing kind of set the tone, and it made it for a really fun game to watch. I'm just it's amazing that just the we've been asking for Trey Jones to be in the starting lineup for the past what, like 2 months. Like put Trey Jones in, put Trey Jones in. Finally, we did it out of basically necessity, and look at the result.
Yeah. I mean, Trey Jones, I mean, and you don't really have to look much further than I mean, his plus minus wasn't amazing last game.
No,
But generally it's really good. And he's affecting he's affecting our team in a very positive way when he's in the lineup, but it's clearly Sohan who's failing to see how to get the ball flowing within our offense. And it's not that he doesn't want to pass. It's not, I mean, because he does have
yeah,
distribution mindset. It's just that too often he's making the wrong decision. He's passing to an
boom,
area that
nailed it.
yeah, that doesn't that he's passing to an area on the court that's not creating space or creating more offense. And it's really
It
frustrating.
feels like he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, it feels like he's freestyling and just
You know,
kind of figuring it out in the moment sometimes, most of the time.
it's like all right, I got the ball. All right, I'm gonna shoot it. And in reality, you should have passed it. Or I'm gonna pass it, and it's like you should have shot it. And in that fourth quarter, Sohan had two plays that come to mind in particular. It was a fast break. It was, I think, 3-on-1. And instead of passing the ball to someone for an easy layup, he ran through one of the Bucks players to get a charge. And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, you had two guys, and all you had to do was just pick one, and they would have had a layup. And then the other one that comes to mind is Pop yelled at him, I think, in the final like 3 minutes of the game. He went to the hoop, and instead of laying it up, because he had a wide open shot, he got around Robin Lopez. He passed it off, and I think we either missed a shot or caused a turnover. But like Pop was pissed because he was literally under the basket, and all I had to do was just lay it up, and he passed it. And so you're going, dude, like if you just figured out when to pass and when to shoot, you would be so much better, and we won't be so mad at your yellow hair. But since you can't do that, like we're upset, and you're the guy. Like unfortunately, right now he is the scapegoat because you watch his play and you're going, dude, like you got to figure it out, man. You have to figure it out. I think he
Yeah.
will, but it's gonna take more time than we want it to.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be a tough situation whenever we come to the crossroads, or it's like, all right, are we willing to keep sacrificing, while we're developing him? Is he going to be worth that payout in the end? And I
Right.
think that, last year towards the end of the year, whenever he greatly improved his free throw percentage, whenever he was a little bit more efficient from three, we were like, all right, hey, we see some things in this guy that are positive. He's getting better.
Yeah.
And now it seems like he's almost regressed a little bit or plateaued to a certain degree. And
Yeah.
we're and I think now we're asking ourselves, is the juice going to be worth the squeeze? And I think
Yeah. No,
I think
100%.
that's a fair question because
It's a very valid question.
we're developing too many people around him, and if he's going to
Y-
stifle any development from Vassell, from Wemby, from any of our other guys that we may draft in the future, then I think that we need to package him and get some good veterans in here, which you and I have both been talking about for a while. We need some good veterans.
Yeah, we were texting last night when we were at the game. Whenever it's crunch time and we had the 5 point lead, then we basically gave it up and lost by four. We were saying like if we had a vet to just be the vocal coach on the floor or just put people in the right position, I think we'd have pulled out that win. And I think that's the main difference between us and the Bucks is that, dude, they have all these veteran guys who are have playoff scars, have final scars, and they know how to step up in the big moments, and they know when the moment is big enough in order to win the game essentially. And kind of going back to Trey Jones, I'm not upset about his 3-pointer attempt at the end. It was wide open, so I'm not mad about it. But dude also shoots like 22% from three, so there's a reason he was open. Obviously, I think those situations we just show how young we are. Game's on the line. We're down by three. We need to hit 3-pointer, and just from the we had a inbounds play set up, and then it went went straight to crap. Like it just didn't. Nothing came about it. I don't know if people were just reading our play really well, or we just didn't set screens hard enough. But that's essentially what happened. And now Victor's scrambling, trying to get the ball, and he passes it off to Trey Jones because he got doubled. But you pass it off to the guy that shoots 22% from three.
Right. I mean, it looked like on that play we telegraphed it to Vassell. Like
Yeah.
we were going to Vassell so obviously that the person who was immediately open from that was Wemby, and then he got closed in on so hard that the guy
Yeah.
who was open in the corner was Trey Jones, and he ended up with the shot. And yeah, he was really, really hurt by that. Obviously, he was very upset
Yeah.
right after the game. I watched him for a minute or so, and he was very upset. I was halfway expecting him
Yeah.
to stay out on the court and keep shooting threes, but yeah, I didn't see him out there whenever I was airballing my free throw.
I'm sure. I'm sure he was out there. Can you tell people about that?
Yeah, I airballed a free throw, dude. Dude, honestly, it caught me by surprise. Like I was, like it was after the game. We had
How'd you get on the court?
Okay, so because my brother's got season tickets, I've been going with him
Yeah,
to
yeah,
some games, and so one of the membership perks is they give you a couple opportunities to do things like that, to go out on the court and to do like little free throw things or little dribbling contests or like little just random fun stuff like that to get you more interactive whenever you're like a season ticket
sure.
holder. Um, and so we went out there and shot a free throw. Each one of us got to shoot a free throw. My niece got to shoot one. Caitlin and Rich,
Nice.
and then I shot one, and we were 0 for 4 as a family,
Hey man, it's the depth perception. It's you're not warmed up.
bro.
You gotta start from the under the basket and work your way out.
Bro, honestly, like I felt good about everything about the shot. It was dead on, perfect. But yeah, it was the depth perception, like the fact that you can see 100 yards behind the basket. You,
Yep.
you don't really understand how that affects you, and because you're used to playing, there's a gym, and then there's
Yeah.
a backboard, and I can't see behind the backboard, and yeah, it's a little
Right.
bit different. I mean, I don't want to make excuses for myself because I should have at least hit the rim, but yeah, it was not pretty. It was not pretty.
Well, that's one of the things that was a huge advantage of the Spurs when they played in the Alamo Dome was that fact that it was so far back from like just the seats going and going and going because that thing seats 60,000 people or 30
Yeah,
30,000 whenever the Spurs were playing.
yeah,
So whenever they would come in, and especially teams in like the East that didn't come to San Antonio but once a year, like they would have just struggles of shooting the basketball because of that depth perception. So I don't blame you, but yeah, dude, you should have made it. What's your problem?
bro. Dude, I'm disappointed in myself. In fact, whenever the weather kind of warms up here in a little bit, I'm gonna go get some shots up.
Yeah, for
I'm getting
sure. No, I
shots up
get that.
today. I'm
Well,
I'm gonna get like 300 up today.
nice. Well, going back to the game, Devin Vassell played insane. Keldon Johnson played absolutely insane. If we can get that type of production from those players on a nightly basis, this team can do stuff.
Well,
And
I
if we can
mean,
get the eight,
I don't think Keldon had a very good game.
he had some explosive plays
He
that
did.
brought us in that it kind of like, oh shit, here we go.
I mean, he did. I mean, he did rebound very well. There was a lot of moments that he came in and provided some offensive punch whenever we needed it, and we were kind of lacking. but he still shot 5 for 17. Like he was still wildly
Yeah, that's fair.
inefficient. So like I want to see him being a little bit more consistent with his shot selection too, even though I don't think his shot selection is as bad as Vassell. But gosh, Vassell just he's so good at hitting tough shots. Man,
Yeah, he's so good.
he can hit
He's so
some
good.
really hard shots. And it's just it's frustrating to watch almost because you don't want him to take those shots, but then he'll hit a few of them and then you're like, "All right, I guess
Yeah.
you got the license to do that."
Yeah, dude, we shot 43 pointers last night. Like that's insane. That's so many 3 pointers. We made 14 of them, which is cool, but we shot 43 pointers, which is, that's very unspurs like. I don't
Right.
think I've ever seen a stat line where we're shooting 43 pointers on a Spurs team.
Well,
So,
hey, hold on a
if
second.
that's our MO.
Well, I mean, there could have been nights back in the day where Matt Bonner and Bruce Bowen they're getting their three. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, dude. Did you see KG talk about Matt Bonner or him and
Yes.
Doc and Paul Pierce?
Yes, he
It's
was like, if
so
I
funny.
if I see Bonner, if I see Bonner, it's all right. It was funny.
I remember that game. You remember the games that Matt Bonner goes off because they're few and far between, but they were fun to watch.
Oh
Just
yeah. Oh, dude, and it's always the same game. It's always a game where he hits like five, six, seven threes, and he has like
yeah,
several good rebounds, and like that's about it. He has like a really efficient game, but it's
yeah,
always threes and rebounds, and it's like he's not like getting
right.
you a bunch of blocks or steals or like diming like crazy. But you know what? He's gonna be
He
setting
knows where to
it
get
and then forgetting it.
he knows where to get a sandwich. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah,
But the I think we played a really good game. Obviously we're playing a top 5 team in the NBA in the Bucks. They have
yeah,
Damian Lillard, they have Giannis, they have Middleton. I mean, they got pieces all over the place. Robin Lopez was really making Wimbenyama work hard, like really hard for his shots, really hard down low. He was doing the whole vet moves where he was grabbing him and pushing him and
yeah.
trying to get in his grill. And Wimby really stepped up to the challenge. I I am in awe of how Wimby just basically just came out of nowhere. Not came out of nowhere, but he wasn't the stage wasn't small or too big for him, I should say. And he showed up in a big way. I mean, shots, dunks, threes, everything. Like he was just playing really, really efficiently. And I think the biggest thing that we can take from it is like if you don't turn the ball over, you have a chance to win the game at the end. And I think that's kind of where Trey Jones comes into play because it's like, all right, hey man, I can dribble with both hands. I can go left, I can go right, and I can at least get the ball past half court. And I think that's kind of what we've been missing. And I'm very I love the post game interview with Wimby when what did they ask him like every game's a statement game, something along those lines. And they're like for like for who? And he's like everybody's gonna get it now. And so I
Yeah.
really hope that we start to let him loose a little more. I wish he played more minutes because you can tell whenever he gets pulled, he is pissed. He is
Yeah.
so mad.
Oh, and
He's
you
in the
felt
fourth
it.
quarter. He was so mad.
Well, you literally felt it in the entire Frost Center. I literally turned to Rich and I was like at maybe like 7 minutes left in the fourth, and I was like, all right, Wemby, he's been sitting for almost 2 minutes now, probably 20, 30 seconds, Pop's gonna go get him. And then, that 20, 30 seconds goes by, he doesn't get him. Another minute goes by, he doesn't get him. Another minute goes by, he doesn't get him. And then I'm sitting there like, dude, what are we doing? Like, I understand
Yeah.
that we're trying to limit his minutes, but we have the chance to get a really huge confidence boosting win against one of the
Yep.
best teams in the NBA. And all it
Yep.
takes is potentially playing him 3 or 4 extra minutes. Man, that risk is very, very minimal. And I know there is a risk by playing him more minutes. There's always going to be a risk. But I
Yeah.
think
Every
that
player has it.
I think that's one of the times you take that risk. That's
100%.
one of those chances. I'm not saying playing him 35 minutes in a game where we're going to be blown out by 25, 30 points, but man,
Right.
we had an opportunity there, and I
Yeah,
think that
we
yeah,
had an opportunity. It was a tie game. Even Reggie Miller on the broadcast said, they need to get Wimby in the game because it's going to give. He needs at least a minute to just get warmed up again, just to get used to like the up and down. Like he needs to go up and down the court like twice, kind of thing, and just so he can kind of get his energy back. Because when you sit on the bench, you're coming down, heart rate's down, and then you get your heart rate back up just so you can get in the moment. And it was frustrating to watch because I think that's also when Jeremy Sohan did his dumb shit where he ran through the guy instead of passing the ball. So it's like, we have our opportunities and we're just kind of fumbling it at the end. And it would have been a great confidence booster, not only for our team, but for the fans being in attendance, being in a close game and showing, hey, we want to win. We're trying to win. This isn't just an experiment we're doing for the year, but we want to get better. And so how do we get better? We put our best player on the court when crunch time matters. And Pop sat him until I think 4 minutes left in the game.
yep.
And I think that was about a minute and a half, 2 minutes too late. And
Oh yeah.
we couldn't really close it out.
Yeah, and yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It was you need a little bit of extra time to get warmed up in the game. You need a couple of times up and down the court, and yeah, and it showed right as soon as he got in the game. He committed his fifth foul right away because he just wasn't. He
Yeah.
was just kind of getting caught back into the flow of the game, um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that he needed to be out there for at least half of that fourth quarter, right there at the end. But yeah, we just can't close out games. We ultimately
No.
we just don't know what a successful closing out of a game truly looks like because
Right.
we don't know if Vassell's the one that is going to drive the team home. We don't know if it's going to be Wemby. We're pretty sure at this point it's not going to be Keldon Johnson the way he's been relegated to a bench role. We're going to be really trying to key in on Victor or Vassell, but I still think that there is so much ambiguity right there where it's causing us confusion in late game situations,
Oh, for sure.
and and that's on Pop if there is that confusion as to who is supposed to be closing out the game, and I'm
100%.
I'm not saying that it's something that's supposed to be figured out automatically or right away because we're still really, really early on. But he needs to be gearing things up to have Victor close out these games. Like
I agree.
that needs to be the conversations happening in the locker room.
Yeah, whether it's, maybe he doesn't start the fourth quarter and he comes in at, let's say, the 10-minute mark and plays the rest of the game, or even the 9-minute mark and plays the rest of the game, but we just need to find a better way to get Wimby in the game and close it out because, as close to the game was, as well as he played, you could tell in his post game interview he was pissed. Like you can tell he was not happy that we lost that game. And the TNT guys were talking, from a Bucks perspective, hey, we didn't deserve to win the game, but we won the game. But we have a lot of things to fix now because clearly we're not ready. And that's from the Bucks side, but from our side, I don't know if we could have played any better. And I don't mind losing games like this. I don't. I really don't mind losing games. It's when we lose consistently by 20, 30 points, it's when it just gets just complete ass whip. And that's where we need to understand that losing games is going to be a part of the growing process. If we're losing games by 5, 4, 3 points like this, and we're having great production from Wimby and the other guys on the team, then great. But if we're not, and we're just going out there lackadaisical, then that's preparation, man. That's all preparation. There
Yeah.
has nothing to do with anything else besides that. So, I hope they can kind of grow. I'm not a huge fan of moral victories, but I hope might be a moral victory for them. But I do think we saw a killer in Wimby last night, and I think he's going to carry that to the rest of the season, and he's going to win Rookie of the Year too.
Whew. I mean, I hope he wins Rookie of the Year. I hope he stays healthy for the full season and he puts himself in a good position to win that award. I just know that they look at so many things that may or may not have to do with individual performance for those awards. And given how good OKC is right now and how efficient Chet's playing and his counting stats, a lot of them are less than Wemby's, but I think a lot of people are like, well, he also has a first team All NBA guard on his team. His stats are going to be a little bit less. So, like, I think while I am still all the way Team Victor, I can see why people are saying Chet. But that being said, I'm trying to sell all of my Chet rookie cards. No, no, but in all
I love it.
honesty, it's going to
I
be
love it.
it's going to be a very very close race. It's going to be a very very
Yeah.
close race, and we can.
It's Rimby's going to need more games like he had last night in order to push the ball over the edge essentially.
Yeah, because it's not only big games putting up big stat lines, both offensively and defensively. It's got to be what are you doing against the best players in the NBA, and doing that while being guarded by Giannis, who is obviously is a guy that's won Defensive Player of the Year before, and partially Brooke Lopez too. Like he's consistently been
Yeah.
one of the league leaders in blocks per game and total blocks. So obviously his rim
He made
protection.
he made an all defensive team last year, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he's made
Like
multiple all defensive
first or
teams.
second or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No
he's a
slouch.
really
Definitely.
he, oh yeah, and so that's a formidable front court. So to have that kind of production in only 26 minutes, that's astonishing.
Dude, like if we can just get him to 30 minutes, like if we can just get him to 30 minutes, get him to 32 minutes or whatever, like what's going to happen then? Like that's kind of where I'm at. And I really wish that we were able to do that at some point. But I guess my big question to you is which dunk was your favorite?
Um, I don't know. It's got to be between the one where he went behind the back and then dunked on, like went behind the back around Damian Lillard, went right by him, and then dunked on Brooke
Yeah.
Lopez. That is probably my favorite one. But the one where he went off the glass and then passed to himself, I think
I,
that one actually got the loudest roar in the Frost Center whenever I was there.
well, because when you watch it and you're like, wait, so he Euro stepped at the 3 point line and got to the free throw line, threw it up off the backboard, and just yammed it himself. Like it was that was awesome. But so also was it Vassell that also had a putback dunk too? I mean,
Yes.
we looked athletic, really athletic last night, and that's really exciting. If we can just kind of put it all together for a win, I think you can really build off this game. I really do.
Oh yeah.
We just need to we need Mamu as more minutes though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's games where I really like what he's doing, but he seems a little unsure of himself sometimes. And so like I definitely think that his role is going to be meaningful moving forward, but I think he's still finding himself as well. But I think one of the
Yeah,
guys that I am just so excited about and I love watching him with Spurs team we have is Chetty Osman. Oh my
yeah,
goodness, he fits like a
yeah,
glove. He is consistently one of the highest points minus guys on our team. He comes in,
yeah,
he hits threes, he knows how to move the ball, he can pass to Victor well, and he gets steals.
yeah,
He's not a great defender, but
yeah.
he gets sneaky steals and he's smart. He's
Right,
not going to do the wrong thing, even though he's not an incredibly skilled player. So I think I'm cool with
right.
him. I think he got 28 minutes last night. I'm cool with him getting that kind of minutes. I think we need him to be
Yeah,
on the court and in a situation to contribute.
yeah. And I mean, just someone who's not going to get spastic, I guess. someone that can that's on the court, just like, all right, we're calm, we're good. Like I have the ball, like let's take a beat. Let's not go at 100 every single play.
Oh,
Let's
okay. So
take a
not Blake
beat.
Wesley. So basically anybody but Blake Wesley.
I think we just got to get up for all the games now. We can't just circle the big games or show up for a top 5 team. We got to circle all the games now. But I'm curious to see how Victor plays for the rest of the season. See if this is kind of like the catalyst to put him over the edge and start playing significant hits and being a lot more aggressive. I think yesterday we saw that the game has slowed down for him and he's ready to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be watching out for all that. I think this is a sign of positive things to come, even though it was in a loss. But yeah, that's a good episode. Everyone, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It's your host Rob, aka B-Ball Archives. Once again, I'm with my homie AJ. We appreciate you, and as always, it is go
Go
Spurs,
Spurs!
go.